I believe in the power of family. When I was younger, I always had great parents who looked after me and loved me. Of course, there were times where we would get into heated debates over minuscule things, but that was all part of being in a family. While I was having an excellent youth, I was curious about a certain thing about my parents. I realized my parents were older than most kids' parents my age. My parents were about 15 to 20 years older than my friends' parents. It never really bothered me since I was content on being with them, and it wasn't really a big matter. Although as my curiosity took over, I asked my parents about it, and they just told me that they had me a lot later than most parents. Being young and naive, of course I believed them. I mean, why wouldn't I doubt what my parents told me? Later that same year, we went to Texas for a family reunion. There were about 300 Scott family members present. This was the normal amount of people for our reunions. We were all having a blast catching up on the past 2 years. We had cookouts, went swimming, events, trips, etc. It was really great seeing the family, especially all of the many cousins. After the reunion was almost over, my parents introduced me to a woman who seemed very pleased to see me. It seems she has seen me many times, as I remember her stating how it had been so long. I didn't remember much about our past meetings. She looked after me the night before everyone was leaving to go home. While we were outside sitting on the bench, she told me some things I had no idea about. She had told me that she was my real mother and my parents were actually my grandparents. After a brief moment, I asked her why I was living with them. She stated she wasn't able to take care of me financially, and therefore had to let my grandparents adopt me. She said she was ready to take me in and support me, but then my dad left just as I was born, and she didn't have a choice. I was actually pretty hurt about the news, not because of the truth coming out, but because I was lied to. Maybe it was because I was too young to understand the situation beforehand. After feeling pretty down about my grandparents and never meeting my dad, I just sat and thought for a while. At the very end, I realized a person's parents can be anyone who loves and supports them. They took me in when their daughter could not, which was a huge decision that most people would not do. It didn't matter that my grandparents weren't my biological parents, but that they loved me and took care of me, which was all that mattered.